Hey guys, you made it. Welcome aboard. I am just thrilled I get to share with you a conversation I've had today with Myriam Wiedemann. Myriam was a fellow student. We were taking Quantum Soul Guidance Practitioners course together through Julia Balaz. And I found her interesting, and her comments in the classes and our group calls were just, I was very drawn to her. And then I saw her presentation at I think it's the Quantum Soul Guidance Summit in January. I'll put a link to it below. But wow, I at that time saw the extent of Miriam's work and the energy that she brings through her voice, through her presence, and through her work is so beautiful. It makes me want to, it fills me with energy and with tears. I was just fascinated with her, and I invited her on to ask her questions about what is geomancy. I hope that you find this conversation as captivating as I am with her. Thank you, Myriam, for being a part of Just Waking Up. I see you and I love you. Enjoy the conversation, and to everyone out there, there's good things ahead. Thank you. Hi, Myriam. Thank you so much for spending time with me on this beautiful day. How are you doing?
I am good, Brandy, and thank you for inviting me for this conversation. I was looking forward to this very much.
Me too. And so I know you through the Quantum Soul Guidance and Galactic Astrology community. And I hadn't really reached out or or got to know you. And I saw you present at the Julia Balaz Quantum Soul Guidance Summit speakers.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting the title of the summit at the moment, but was absolutely beautiful gathering of catalyzing, activating women and men. And when I saw your presentation, I was just blown away. You did a presentation on geomancy, and that's when I saw you and who you were. And you, in addition to this work that you brought forward, is just wonderful. Thank you for being on this planet. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself as a child, and we can get into your work?
Sure, yes. I'm very happy to share this because I feel, well, with a lot of clients of mine, but also when I talk to colleagues like you, I kind of hear a similar story all the time. I was a child which was really intuitive, and I grew up in a family where the people who felt too much were eventually diagnosed with manic depression or paranoid schizophrenia and
Mm.
bipolarity. And they received all kinds of cruel treatments back in the 70s and a lot of psychopharmaceuticals, of course, and ended up in psychiatric institutions. Not the whole family, but it runs in the family. And that was the fate I watched, I would say, and I was terrified that I would repeat that. So for a long time, I closed it off, and I tried to become, an aligned part of society. I became an architect, and in my mid-20s, everything collapsed when I call it, I ran into a wall of complete desperation, which actually was depression. And I had to surrender to that. And the moment I surrendered, the right people began appearing. Those who knew how to work with what I had been suppressing all along. And each time a new layer opened of awareness, the right person would appear quite magically, as though it had been arranged for a long time in advance. And now I understand how this works for many of us, or probably all of us. The gift waits, and the right companions appear when we are finally ready to receive them. And I would like to call the companions not only human beings, but all kinds of beings around us, galactically, inner Earth beings, you name it. And my turning point also was when I encountered a quote by Teilhard de Chardin, and it is one of my favorites now, and that is, "We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience."
Yes,
And
I love that.
this is what I am embodying now.
I love this. I can see it and feel it in you. And so, when in your 20s, when you allowed these gifts just to and began to embody, were you making contact in the multidimensional field and having dialogue?
Mm, Probably yes, but I was not aware of it then. I started quite classically with psychotherapy based on Carl Gustav Jung's therapy. And I did something for many, many years, African dance,
Oh, I
West
love it.
West African
Hmm.
dance, where we worked with the archetypes of the gods and embody, and it was an embodiment actually.
Hmm.
And also after that with family constellation, it just was one step after the other that brought me to what we are now doing, you and I, Galactic Astrology and
Yes.
USG. And it was a process over many, many years.
So I just want to sit with your dance, your African dance for a moment, because that is just so beautiful. I trained capoeira and taught for, I didn't teach for 6 years. I taught for about a year, but I trained for 6 years. And there, from the outside, it's this, you're dancing, you're getting exercise. But as you get into the deeper layers of capoeira, there integrated with candomblé sometimes. And so movement of our bodies is just such a wonderful opportunity to feel and sense and allow frequencies and energies into your field that would otherwise be closed off if we're just moving through our mental capacity. Can you talk a little bit about what that, like, how that opened you up or what that looked like, the movement part?
So my teacher spent a couple of years in Benin in West Africa, and there she was initiated into one of the, I don't know how you call it in English, a chapter, I suppose, and and she came back with the knowledge and the ritual and the experience of the dance. And uh, brought it to Germany, where she incorporated it in her body work. And we explored the archetypes of the gods by dancing them, moving with them. And we always had musicians with us, with the drums and the djembes, and they gave us the rhythm, and our teacher gave us the clear framework on how to dance. We move towards the drum and then backwards. There is a protocol around it, but there are also phases where we can express freely. And that is where you kind of, when I think about it and when I look at it, it is like a body, it is like channeling through
Mm-hmm.
dance, through
Mm-hmm.
movement. Because you in Africa, this is actually happening. The dancers, they embody the deity. We embody the archetype more, but there is a primal force coming through. There is a nature force that we tap into and that we can use for our own mm, expression, but also our own consciousness expansion.
I love that. I love that. That's beautiful. Yeah, there's just there's I think there's almost like another element there that we're have the ability to tap into that we may not have the language for.
Yes,
It's not
but the body,
plasma. Pardon me?
but the body has the language
The
for it.
body has the language. Yes. Oh, I love that. Oh, that gives me chills.
Mm,
Oh, good. Okay, so I'm gonna keep moving through our questions here. And uh thank you for just sharing that because I can feel that just the energy of movement feels good.
yes.
Um, how did you come across galactic astrology?
It was when I watched an interview between Julia Ballas and Elena Dunham. I think it was in 2021,
Mhm.
a very famous interview. And I was electrified. I had been working in shamanic traditions and family constellations for years. And suddenly here was a system that gave astronomical coordinates to what I had been accessing intuitively. And then I booked a session with Julia while I watched the video, and I waited 6 months for it. And the session with her confirmed patterns from many years of inner work I did, experiences I had when I accessed them through shamanic travel and also through constellation work, as I said. But I wasn't able to give it a language. And
Mhm.
Julia made that possible.
Yes.
And she also redirected me toward work I had been resisting. I working with people because I wanted to go deeper and into geomancy and earth grid work. And she said, no, firmly. My task was to guide people to their inner knowing and their galactic origins. And well, I trust that reading completely, and this is exactly what I do now. And now I'm adding geomancy, and that was what Julia actually predicted to me. So
Wow.
that's how I found galactic astrology, or galactic astrology found me. It's probably a reciprocal process.
It is. I feel like it's alive and it's just expanding and touching all of us and drawing us in. Quickly, can you tell me exactly what family constellations are? Like, what is
Okay,
that?
family constellations. This is a this is a technique or a modality that a German psychotherapist developed in the 80s or 90s. His name was Bert Hellinger, And we look at the hidden dynamics of a family field that becomes visible through representatives. So in a group, it was originally devised as a group session where people in the group represent members of the client's family. And through their positions in the room and what arises in their bodies and the entanglements across generations become visible and then can be addressed until the whole system finds a balance in the room where everybody says, yeah, I'm at the right place now.
So you're not incorporating the zodiacs into the concept of family constellations.
I do now.
Okay. And how have you blended that? And did you bring that through galactic astrology, or how do you marry those two?
So, in the session with Julia, actually, I brought up the question. I said, so if we have not only our birth family in this incarnation and our ancestral field coming with it, if we have galactic families where we come from, we had
Miriam, I'm
in.
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but your screen froze.
Oh, really?
There we go. Looks good.
Okay.
Sorry,
Should
thank you.
should I continue?
Oh, yes, please.
So interesting. When I talked about our galactic families.
Oh, that is.
So, okay, so I thought, so if we have had many families through many incarnations, then we could apply family constellation in the galactic scope and do healing work with our galactic ancestors. And it is where we extend the field beyond the earthly bloodline to include the soul's galactic ancestry, and the patterns that emerge are the same that
Mhm.
emerge in the human family constellation because the entanglements run through all dimensions and time.
Yes, they do.
And if a person has a pattern, let's say, of persecution or spiritual suppression that does not kind of land with their great grandmother, let's say, or their matrial line, then we can express this through in other star systems from the earlier cycles of incarnations.
Mhm.
And the healing that happens is not only personal. When we clear a pattern for ourselves or within our family, in our field, the whole system is affected. And I mean this literally. The constellation field is quantum in nature. So when we resolve in this room, then the effects will ripple through lineage and time and space, and we can heal our galactic families as well. And that is the beauty of it.
Are there any specific points or planets that you observe if you only had 2 points on the chart? I know that there's layers, and so there are many combinations that we could look at, but if you had two locations or planets, which would you look at first?
So I will always let myself guide by the client. I will invite the client to step into their chart. And then I will ask them where the energy flows most strongly, where there is a push or a pull, where there is tension. All of I will ask those questions, and the client will guide me because the space and time we enter a constellation in the galactic astrology wheel is opening up a portal. That's how I describe it, where healing is possible.
Mhm.
Most of the time, well, the most intense and the most touching constellation work I did was with Lyra, our galactic ancestors, where we experienced this deep first trauma of war and exile, and we carry this until now. And
Yeah.
uh, there were so many very deep emotional moments with healing possible with Lyra connections. That is very
Mm,
intense.
may I share with you something that I've been kind of feeling about the second house?
Mm, yes.
Uh, and it feels to me like the second house isn't just about money or finances, it's about security and
Mm,
even keeping our physical bodies secure. And so when we feel like threatened or unsafe, I feel like the or feel safe, then I feel like the second house sometimes keeps this energy here. You know, the first house is like, who am I? This is who I am. And then the second house, like, what makes us feel safe to move on and begin learning and communicating, you know. Um, so to me, for some reason, I think I have Lyra. I may not, but I was looking at a chart that had Lyra in the second house. And that added to the fact that this soul has just can't feel safe. They don't, and it brought in that incident in Lyra even more so than just having the star in their charts, but that feeling was just exasperated, if you will. I don't know why I wanted to share that about the second house, but
I I agree completely, Brandy. The second house, yeah. Well, there is this layer on the surface that talks about money and our own possessions and our own yeah, resources. But it also talks about security, physical security. I
yes,
agree. But there is
yes.
also, and there is a layer of value and self-worth too.
Mm-hmm.
So if I do not feel secure in my body, how can I value myself? How can I express my self-worth? Not possible. And
Yes.
I also believe that, yes, if you have Lyra alignments in the second house, that can absolutely show those topics in your previous incarnations.
And
Yeah.
so it just I have a lot of planets in my second house. Maybe that's why I brought that up. But I'm just
Well,
feeling what you're just because there's so many layers to the Lyran incidents and the that I'll tell you a story about an experience I have from that time. But first, so what kind of work and how do you bring this information forth to your client once they're inside their galactic chart in their own field and they're directing you? How do you bring this back for, I'm assuming if they come to you, they know what they're signing up for. But
well, some of them do, not all
how do you
of
bring this? Okay.
Okay, so how do I bring the information back?
Mm-hmm.
So family constellation is an absolute conscious process. It's not like QHHT where you go into a trance or hypnosis state. You are aware. You are just in a heightened, let's say, alpha state. Even better if you're in theta, but alpha state, where you are in this where you are receptive, where you have access to layers of consciousness that are not available during our day-to-day work when we are in beta state, for example. So I will help them to step into the chart and open up to what comes through. And they will have physical reactions. They will have emotions coming up suddenly, unexpected, out of the blue. And then we will address it. And I have to say, and Brandy, I know you do remote viewing. So the family constellation work more and more with galactic astrology while stepping into the chart and exploring our star families, it can become remote viewing
Yes,
where we do not just channel, we experience, we go back into the situations where the trauma started, where it originated, and we can address it there. And
I agree.
it is quite interesting how this connects now galactic astrology and family constellation and more remote viewing now.
I think that, oh, I agree completely. I think remote viewing is language used to quantify the ability that is innate in all of us. And so it's just kind of bringing us into this awareness that we all have this ability, and it's like it's a language of the ethers. There's so many ways you can use to express this ability, awareness, knowing. Um, and I love when we or you get your client to go go there. These charts are just pointing us in directions to go and explore and look at. And so, how do you bring this into geomancy? How is geomancy coming in to your chart readings?
Um, so geomancy from the tradition I learned is working with the Earth's energetic currents and power places. And when we talk about geomancy, then we have to talk about the Earth, Gaia,
Mhm.
because geomancy is derived from Greek G or Ge for Gaia, Earth, and Manteia, which is divination. So
Mm.
it it has been in the Western world considered one of the seven sacred sciences. So everybody uh, from the Middle Ages until the early times of industrialization was um, was aware of geomancy. And only in the last 150 years, the knowledge was subsequently lost. But there are still farmers who know how to work with the land. There are
Mm.
still dowsers who understand where water lines flow and where we can build wells, for example. And when we work with galactic astrology and the planets and the fixed stars, why do we not work with the Earth? It is the logic,
Yes.
it is the logical way of grounding the energies, grounding the information. Yes. Bringing it down here
Mhm.
because we are here. We are the mediators between the stars and the earth. And we are also we are one of the guardian races of the earth. There's so much talk about the earth, which would be so much better off without humans. I do not agree at all.
I
We
don't
are here
either.
to steward her, and we just have lost the knowing and the tradition and the language to talk to the earth. We are remembering now. Many people do grid work. Many people work with the so-called ley lines and do also energetic clearing of places. That is something we have always done, and now it is, and we have also infused the power places where energetic lines cross, for example, and where we have built our places where we pray, where we connect with the cosmos, where we connect with the higher consciousness of ourselves. And we have always imbued those places with the power of the stars. We knew how to do this,
Yes.
and now it's coming back. And from my perspective, it is not necessary to build a pyramid in your garden to have that. You can build a stone circle and infuse and imbue the stones with the energy of the stars, for example. And that
Oh,
is
love
that
that.
is how I work.
I love that you said that. And what I'm hearing is just so empowering in that we, in our body, this body that inhabits this planet, have the technology to connect, communicate, charge, power. Like our bodies have the same level of intelligence and power and technology that all of these things do, like these and hardware, just the 5G, the 6G. I think that these are not used to bring us into higher tech or to be a technologically advanced. I think that they're creating and keeping us from where the real technology is, which is in our own being, whether that's within our physical or within our higher levels of consciousness or them all working together. There's so much that we have the ability to perceive and move forward. Um, may I ask you, because these layers of intelligence and consciousness can be so hard to get to sometimes. I every
Mm.
day am trying and striving, I feel like, to move through a little bit of density to ensure that I have this stable connection. And there's so many things that get in my way. Do you ever experience that? Because you're just speaking such beautiful, divine, pure, pure intelligence. How is it that you stay connected in that way at all times? And do you stay in that flow, if you will?
I love to brandy, but of course, life happens to me too. And uh, um, so I have established a kind of psycho-hygiene, that's what I call it, because in geomancy, we say that the most sensitive and reliable measuring instrument for everything is the body itself. You know, we also use radiosthetic devices in geomancy, dowsing rods, antennas, pendulums, tensors, but these are secondary tools. And I feel they are there to help our minds, our brains to compute.
Yes,
But if we have
yes.
developed our sensory and our sensitivity, then we can walk a landscape and feel the currents before any instrument is involved. But in order to do that, we really have to do, I feel, two things. The first is grounding,
Mm-hmm.
grounding, so we can move in other realms. And the other thing that I'd like to do and also tell people is hone your intuition, because that is the first step to unlock our higher senses, our telesenses, as I call them, telepathy, teleportation, and all of that, but also our higher senses, like our clairs, the clairvoyance, the clairaudience, the clairsentience, to name the three most common ones. And if we start to work with them and use them, then we will slowly but surely understand what's happening around us, and we will be more in tune with everything around us. It is inevitable.
So are you, yes, agree with everything you're saying. Uh, are you bringing this to your clients, or I'm sorry, can you just go deeper into how you bring geomancy into your galactic astrology?
Um, so it is probably the other way around.
Okay. Okay.
So actually, in order to be able to work fully in full capacity, it is important to have clear spaces around
Mm.
you where you not only are able to ground uh, deeper, but also in order to have a space that is clear of disturbances. Because we measure in geomancy, we measure the life force energy around us in Bovis units. And just to make a little example, humans are vibrating, if you want, at 7,500 Bovis units in
Mm.
general. Um, in order for us to have a space that nourishes us with energy and not drains us from our beautiful life energy, we need at least 9,000 Bovis units. At the moment here in Berlin, in Germany, where I'm stationed at, we measure around 0 and less Bovis units. A human in the death process still has a
Hey,
thousand
that's
Bovis units.
really low.
It is low because not only because of the geopathic disturbances that are quite natural because nature and earth is moving and there are disturbances happening all the time. We know this with the Schumann resonance, right? That
Hmm.
we are aligned with this frequency and we feel her. But there are also other forms of disturbances that were created by humans who were not aware of what they are doing when they are building houses, when they are creating big cities like this with all the energy grids that are disturbed um, by by works underground, sewer work. We all need that. I understand that. I'm an architect. I understand how this has to work in order to not have chaos. But if we applied geomantic knowledge to that, it wouldn't be that bad. And
So, how does one? I have a couple of questions, and one I
yeah,
want to speak to your architecture and geomancy. But quickly, how does one kind of create their own field or fortify their own field when you are surrounded by, in a city or in a structure that's, how do you create that space so that you are not affected by the lower and I even don't like that word very much. It sounds hierarchical,
it is.
sometimes lower dimensions, or but I understand conceptually what it. So how do we fortify ourselves and keep it nice and yummy and healthy all around within our own field?
Well, the best way is to call a geomancer to clear your space.
Yes.
Because you call a geomancer once, and then it is done, and you will have your
Okay.
spaces clear, and you do not have to. You do not even have to move your bed because the bed is placed over a detrimental water line. We just take care of the water line, and then it gives you energy instead of draining you. So there is a difference with feng shui, for example.
Hmm.
What you can do is you can clear your space by smudging. You can clear your space with sound healing, for example. You can clear your space by meditating. but it only helps for a certain time in order to have continuous clear space. You need to have an expert to clear it, or you learn geomancy yourself and then do the
Hmm.
work. It is, it is, it is a sacred art. Like you cannot, you cannot really read your own horoscope or your own galactic astrology chart, can you? You
Yeah,
all.
no, not unless you learn it. And I found that I'm I I call myself an ancient student because I've been a
Yeah.
lot of places and I have experienced a lot of things. Ancient student. And so we're always learning and growing as we make new connections and hear other people's perceptions or angles of looking at it. But agreed entirely with what you're saying. And so uh, I want to circle back around with that and talk to you about what you're teaching and what you offer. But before, in regards to geomancy, um, but would you mind telling me a little bit about architecture and building and how you would incorporate geomancy? Do you incorporate that into the locations in which you would build, or do you incorporate that into the geometry of the structure as well?
This is a really good question. I am not working as an architect any longer, but if I had known, I would start by asking the site if it's okay to build in the first place. I would
Mhm.
ask the nature beings, are you in with me? Are you helping me to create? Are you willing to help me to create this house? Because it is needed for XYZ, sorry. Um, there needs to be an intention that comes from the heart. And there we already have a huge conundrum with how architecture and the building business
Yes.
works right now. And then with every step along the building process, I would clear the space. I would help create a building site free of disturbances. And that is really good because people who work on the site feel happier and more content. There will be less conflict because the harmonious energy is strong. There will be less incidents with building, you know, like all kinds of things that can go wrong with building. Everybody who has built knows that. And I would actually, yes, I would design the house built on geomantic principles for sure. Build with the elements, build with where the water lines run, where the energy grid is, and so on and so on.
That's beautiful. And so I'm hearing like not just the location and materials, but the process, the it's almost the flow of the building itself or something. Um, may I ask, I'm kind of going back, I forgot to ask you, are you in contact with any galactic beings now or guides that you work with?
Um, okay, so at the moment, I would say I am most in contact with the Syrians. And that is because I actually got an assignment from them a couple of years ago when I did my retreat during the solstice. I call it the 12 Nights of Wonder. And during that time, where you are able to kind of, yeah, see into the future, let's say, during 12 sacred days that represent the next 12 coming weeks in summer, and in winter, it is the next coming 12 months. An old Celtic tradition that is very common in the German speaking countries. I received, I received an assignment by the Syrians, and they said, "Okay, you have to work with us." And so I decided, so I call it the Sirian Mystery School, and it is a 3-month
Oh,
process where I guide my clients, where we do journeys to Sirius A, B, and C, and also to the
wow.
Galactic Center now. And on Sirius B, which is a water star, we go to the healing temple and we ask for healing from the Syrians. Then we travel to Sirius A to the mystery school and we relearn, we remember our gifts that have been dormant because we are all ancient students like you are, Brandy. I am really interested in what kind of role you played in the Syrian Mystery School. And the third journey is to Sirius C, to the interdimensional agora, where we can find our where we can find support from interdimensional beings, from our galactic family. Everybody mingles there, and we can ask for support with our projects. So
Wow.
the work with the Syrians is extraordinary and profound, and they are they are so surprising in what they offer for my clients. And only recently, two clients of mine who are healers started channeling like that after they went on the journeys with me. It was quite extraordinary. And more, the Syrians open up new layers of consciousness.
Mm.
They are beautiful, really beautiful. So I am working with them, and I have very strong connections to Inner Earth, to the civilization of the
Oh,
Telosi.
yes. I love that with your work. That makes, oh, I love that. I'm very, very connected with the Syrian region. I also have been given assignments on Earth. I'll tell you later. It was a little more tactical and like Earth based. So
Oh,
it was a little interesting. And I actually think it was with a group that had Syrians in the group, but it wasn't Syrian. That aside, I'm still learning about certain memories and exact. I want to maybe come on one of these journeys with you. I feel I started getting teary eyed and I had chills the whole time you were speaking.
oh, wow.
Mm.
Yeah. So, yeah, I feel there is a strong connection there
Oh
too.
yeah, I have my moon, Mercury, and sun is all Syrian. One of them might be Merzam,
Mhm.
actually, I think. Um, Maybe my moon, I forget right now, but I receive everything tactfully. It's all in my body. There's a sense that I have an a way of perceiving information that comes from Sirius that there is no language for. And I always try to describe it as like sensory
Yes.
and body sensory, but there really is no language for this way of receiving information. Mm, it's really interesting. It's fascinating, and it's what has validated the multidimensional field, if you will, for me. And seeing those Syrian alignments validated Julia and the things and the information that she brought forth for my own life, just like you were saying. That information kind of validated that.
Yes.
It's just really phenomenal when you begin to see the gifts that each of these fixed stars or the history, once you start looking at things and taking everything into consideration, everything just kind of opens up. And there's an understanding that's so comforting and so beautiful. And even the things that may not have looked or felt so good in those moments of in time, or those incidents, but having awareness of them allows you to hug and heal and integrate those moments. And it's just such a beautiful journey we're on as we learn to experience the multi-dimensional fields. And there's so many ways of bringing and embodying and metabolizing that information. And it's just making my experience on earth right here and with you now just so profound, so profound. And I really appreciate you, Myriam.
Thank you, Brandy. I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate you too. And I would like to add something to what you said so beautifully.
Yes.
There are so many gifts for us in store for us with with the connection to the fixed stars. But the greatest gift are we ourselves, because we
Yes.
bring all of that here in this incarnation,
Yes.
and we anchor it into Earth. And Earth called us all those 8 billion humans running around on this planet. She called us all for a reason. Sometimes when I walk through the city and I see all those people, I think, we're all star seeds. We're all here because she wanted us to be here with her, and for a reason. And with all the information, with all the trauma, the drama, but also the beauty and the love we have experienced over so many incarnations all over the place in this beautiful galaxy and beyond. We
Yes.
bring it all here. It's all stored here on Earth. It is so miraculous when you think of it about
Oh,
that.
I love that. Miraculous. It is so miraculous. It's so beautiful. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I'm so grateful. And I'm so grateful. I don't know. I don't have any other words right now other than that. And I just can feel and sense you, Miriam. And thank you so much. Like, I love this. I'm getting a lot going back and forth with you. In, um, are you always in these states? I know that you said that you've said so much that it is an example of this, but the concept of anchoring this in, like once people wake up to these realizations of who we are, and we're really starting to like break through the matrix, quote unquote, which I think is just like a mental manifestation. I don't think that there's anything quite so physical keeping us from anything other than our own selves and our
Mm.
own, we've chosen to believe through conditioning or programming or whatever. We've somewhere chosen to exist in that. So I know I'm going all over. My point is, are you always in a state? Do you ever drop down into the 3D and just exist there? Or is the anchoring process where you're always a little open? Talk to me, like, how do we anchor in this awareness? Because there's many that are awakening, but there's still so many that are not. They're locked in to a certain way of existing. And I don't think that they're necessarily NPCs, which I hear some people speak to, which I don't agree or disagree with. I understand that concept as well, but I think that there's just some that aren't willing to look at. So that was a lot. I'm sorry. The
No, I
question the
understand you.
question is, how do we anchor this data and information into this 3D field?
So I made for me, an eye-opener was when I was in my first semester at university studying architecture. And we did an excursion. We went to Vienna in Austria. And
Ooh.
we walked through the streets and we started to look at the houses and the facades and the beautiful buildings. And at some point, I thought, man, I cannot look at those houses from a different perspective anymore. Now I always look through the lens of the architect. I,
Mm,
and that is what's happening more and more. The more you open yourself up to new ideas, new concepts of reality that we in the spiritual community call like awareness or ascension or whatever.
yeah.
In any case, I cannot look at at the night sky now without looking at the stars and knowing without connecting to them deeply.
Yeah.
I cannot walk through a park and not feel the life force around me and acknowledge the nature beings that are there with me, the elementals. And that is kind of my daily life now, yes.
That's so
Uh, and at the
beautiful.
same time, I can just sit, in a chair in my garden and just look at the butterflies and just be happy. That is
Mhm.
possible too. I can absolutely enjoy a cup of coffee with friends. And at some point, I will talk about galactic astrology. I cannot help it. And they go like, oh, there she goes again. And I
How do
love
your friends and family receive that? Are they there with you, or how is that going for you?
for a long time, I was really scared of coming out as a galactic astrologer or as a spiritual person. It
Yeah.
just was done in this creative culture scene, especially here in Berlin 10 or 15 years ago. You couldn't waltz into a gallery opening and talk about dimensions. They would think like, okay, she needs to become an artist fully now. Um, Now, my friend, so when I came out as a galactic astrologer, I was so afraid, and in the end, nobody, either they didn't take notice, or they said, well, that was what you were doing all along anyway, so where's the question? There, so
I love that.
that's I as a galactic astrologer, it is so easy now. I can talk about aliens and UFOs and all kinds of woo stuff. And I say, this is my job now. It is easy. And everybody goes like either is interested or you have this moment where their eyes glaze over and they change topics. And that's fine too.
Yeah.
I don't know how you experience it, Brandy.
Yeah. It's fun. It's really fun. I constantly just put a little bit out and keep, you
Yes.
know, I can't help it. It's like you said, once you see it, I can't help it because it's just part of me. And it's been so beautiful. It gets a little lonely sometimes, but not too much.
Yes, this comes with the job. I
Yeah.
agree. Mm. But we have this beautiful community and with galactic astrology and also with all of those beautiful, beautiful humans out there who understand what we're talking about. And
Mhm.
this makes up to a bit of loneliness in the 3D world, I
It
think.
does. Moments like right now.
Mm,
Um, so is there anything else that you would like to I may I ask you one last, it's a big question. Um,
sure.
but what are your thoughts on this is a big loaded question again, the state of the world or the planet and culture and humanity as a whole. Like on Earth, we're on such a pivotal time. What are your thoughts on the future and what does that look like for the Earth and humanity? What do you think's happening?
I am absolutely optimistic. I am not the doom and gloom person at all. I know that we have come here for a reason. All of us who are incarnated right now have experienced Atlantis and the fall of it, and we are now asked one question. Do you want to recreate this tragedy, or are you willing to make a difference this time? And we are entering this 10-day portal today, as we recorded, 15th of July, 2026, we are entering this portal of 10 days where the outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto make this beautiful dance, the beautiful golden triangle. And 4 degrees, all of them 4 degrees in their signs, all air and fire signs. We know what happens when air meets fire, but this configuration continues until mid 2029 on and off. And this will trigger an event, a stream of events for the next 400 years at minimum,
Mm.
probably many thousand years, many thousands of years. So we are seeding right now the information that is
Oh, yeah.
either helping
Mm.
us to ascend to New Earth, and that is what I came here for today, or we're seeding something else entirely for ourselves. So we are here at the turning point where we decide, are we going in this direction or the other?
Oh, I love that.
And I truly
Mm.
believe that we are now entering the first extended chapter as of humanity as a galactic society.
Yes.
And that is a frequency we are learning to inhabit from within. So I am so excited. It is going to be magnificent what we are going to build from now on.
Oh my God. Thank you for that. That was beautiful. I love the idea that you answered with that we're seeding the future. That's so beautiful. And that it's even catalyzed with this trine right now. And what a beautiful, what a beautiful time. And I hadn't thought of that. And so the 400-year cycle, I'm sorry, not to, because what you said is so beautiful, but there was a technicality that ran in my mind. You say this is catalyzing it and will affect the next 400 years. Can you explain that?
So with Neptune and Pluto in sextile, wait, Pluto, Neptune, Uranus. Yeah, Pluto and Neptune in a sextile. This will not happen for the next 400 years because in this like exact sextile
Oh,
we are
for 400 year. I understand. I understand.
because they are slow planets and they will
Hmm.
not meet again like that for a couple of 100 years. So
Yes, I
that is the
understand.
minimum. I
So
think to the
this
adult, yeah.
this incident only happens every 400 years. I understand that. Um, wow, thank you. Thank you so much, Miriam. I am so grateful for everything that you've taught me today. And can you tell me a little bit, how would people find you and find your work and your offerings?
Yes, people, your audience can find me at Myriam-Wiedemann.de. I know it's a bit complicated, but maybe you put a link in the
I will.
description.
I'll have all of your information and links in the
Yeah.
description.
So on my website, you can find my offers. You can book a session if you want. And you can also find what I offer beyond sessions, which is the 3 month coaching process with the Sirian Mystery School. We talked about this. And I
Yes.
also offer training in galactic astrology, shamanic work, family constellation, how we step into the chart by using family constellation, and geomancy too. So it is a holistic um, training program running over a year that covers the basics, and then a second year where you can extend on what you're drawn towards, because some of my students want to dive deep into astrology, some of them want to dive deep into shamanic practices, and some want to understand how geomancy works and how we can create power places for ourselves at home.
Beautiful. Thank you for being here. I send you so much love, and there's good things ahead, Myriam.
Oh,
Good
thank you,
things ahead.
Brandy.
Yeah.
Yes, only good things ahead. Exactly.
Thank you
Thank
for
you, Brandy, for
talking.
having me.
And until next time,
Yes.
bye.
Bye.